Hi, I'm Randy White of the Dallas Cowboys. Stay tuned today because we have a great show for you. And fishing with me today is that great Redskin fan, what's his name?
Hank Parker.
Oh, Hank Parker, yeah, Hank Parker.
Today, football great Randy White joins Hank on Hot Water Lake Monticello, deep in the heart of Texas. Also, we'll see how animals from around the world deal with the winter snows at Arbuckle Wilderness. But up first, Hank talks about his #1 key to successful fishing.
We're going to talk about lure presentation. I'm going to tell you exactly what that means in just a minute. So stay with me. I'm Hank Parker.
1, 2, 3, 4. The house needs painting, the grass needs mowing. Where's he at?
Hi, this is Hank. Sorry I missed your call. Leave me your name and your number and I'll get back to you.
He's gone fishing.
This is Hank Parker's Outdoor Magazine, featuring the first sportsman to win both the Bassmasters Classic and the title Bass Angler of the Year, Hank Parker.
You know, I told you I was going to talk about direct presentation. I don't know if you've ever thought about it or not, but a bass starts out as a little fry. They have a tremendous amount of predators. As they grow older, then their only predator becomes the angler. Now, a bass doesn't have a mind to reason, but they've got a tremendous instinct. And so all their instincts are geared up to protect them from the angler. And I think if you'll make a more direct presentation, when you cast your bait, if you'll put it right where you feel like that fish is in that brush pile, or around that grass, or around whatever cover you feel like that fish is around, you'll present that bait right where you feel like he's laying, then he'll ambush that bait before he ever has time to think about it. If you cast beyond your target, in most cases that fish sees that bait coming or hears the vibration, he has time to think about it. But if you'll cast your bait right where you feel like that fish is, many times he'll react out of impulse. He won't even consider it. Therefore, his instincts don't have time to warn him off that it may be the angler or his predator, his #1 predator. So I try and visualize in my mind where I feel like that fish is located in that brush pile, and I'll cast right where I think he's at. Now, to do that and do it effectively, you have to use a cast or a flipping stick or a flipping technique, some method to get that bait into the water without really disrupting him and let him know you're there. I mean, don't ring the doorbell. Don't just slam it in the water. That's why a little underhand cast, like right here, is a prime area. You have this little tree sticking out on this grass point. Now, if I were to visualize in my mind, the perfect place to catch a fish would be right on the end of that grass point. So what I would like to do, instead of casting beyond that point and make the bait come to it, I would like to cast right where I feel like the fish is. Bam, right there he is. That would be a good place to catch that fish. So use a little underhanded technique, make a very soft, easy entry into the water, and put that bait right where you feel like the fish is. A spinnerbait, a jig, a worm, there's a lot of lures that are very effective for this technique, mostly weedless baits. You would totally defeat the purpose if you throw a bait in a brush pile or on the point that will hang up. So you need to use a very weedless bait. My favorite technique for catching fish out of impulse or making that presentation right in the thicker part of that cover, just like we have this grass point, is a flipping technique. It's much easier to use the flipping technique to make a soft presentation than any other technique that I've ever used before. And you can place it in smaller areas. Just like here, we have this grass point. You can look down into the point or down into the grass and you see a lot of holes in the grass. You can just take that jig or worm or whatever lure you've selected to flip and drop it down into the grass or down into the holes of the weeds. Silent, soft, easy entry. Don't spook the fish. And he doesn't even have time to think about it. It's there. He reacts out of impulse. If I had to say that there is one thing that's attributed to my success in tournament fishing, it would be direct presentation.
Hasn't this snow just made this place absolutely gorgeous? You know, it really has transformed this place really into a winter wonderland. And today I thought we'd look at 4 or 5 animals from several continents from around the world and just see how they handle this kind of weather.
Next, Jerry Hagee takes us on a most unusual visit to Arbuckle Wilderness. And still to come, some fishing fun with Hank and Cowboy Randy White.
I enjoy playing football probably more than anything else, but when I'm fishing, I guarantee I enjoy it just as much.
Well, that's good. Well, I enjoy watching you play football, I'll tell you that. I kind of hate it when you play my Redskins, but...
Well, I know you're a big Redskin fan.
You'll take it easy on them.
No, but I won't hold it. I won't hold it against you.
You play pretty hard against them, I'll tell you.
They don't like me.
There are 3 ways you can try moving closer to these fish. With a gas outboard, with a noisy electric, or with a quiet Minn Kota electric. To a fisherman, the choice is black and white. Minn Kota, the quiet power that catches fish.
At Ranger, people are important. People like Garland Hurst and Randy Hopper that have helped build every boat. That kind of experience is hard to beat. Because we fish, we listen to our friends who own Ranger boats. Their ideas frequently are the best ones. Most of our boats are still being used, and we've been building them over 15 years. That Ranger quality goes into each boat we build, one boat at a time.
Hank Parker's Outdoor Magazine will continue in a moment.
Go for it with Ryobi. Tough, dependable reels for any kind of fishing. Ryobi. There's never been a better reason to go fishing.
You know, one of the popular parts of our show is when we check in with the wildlife over at Arbuckle Wilderness. Here's Jerry Hagee.
You know, this snow is pretty, and in fact, it's just absolutely gorgeous out here. But many of our animals, this presents a peculiar situation. A lot of them have never seen snow. In fact, the zebra from Africa, he's never seen snow. The continent of Africa brought us all of the zebra. We have 3 subspecies here. We have the gravy, the Burchell, and the mountain zebra. But today we're looking at the gravy zebra, the Grant's zebra. And as you can imagine, in Africa, there's certainly no snow. In fact, it's a semi-arid area. Now, the Grant's zebra, which is one of these that we're looking at, comes from a very lush grassland area during the monsoon or the rainy season of Africa, and they travel very little away from water, since zebra must drink frequently during the day. The gravy zebra, which is the larger of the zebra, has a black line that runs from its mane clear down to where its tail joins. And it comes from a more arid area than even the Grant zebra. It's from northern Kenya and adjacent parts of Ethiopia and even Somalia. Realizing where these animals come from, the dust and the unbearable heat of southern Africa, it's hard to imagine looking out in this snow and thinking that they can even survive. But as you can see, they're doing quite well. Nature's gift to the animal kingdom is that they have the ability to adapt to almost any environment, regardless of how harsh it becomes. Now, here's another animal that handles this snow real well. This is a Bactrian two-hump camel from Asia. In fact, these were on the endangered species, and just till 2 years ago in October. I'm standing over 6 feet, and if you'll look at the size of this hump against me, I can hardly reach the top of it, which makes this camel somewhere about 8 feet at the back. See this fur? Now that's thick hair. They can stand the coldest of winters. The Bactrian is different from the dromedary, and so that you can remember, the two-hump is the Bactrian, the one-hump is the dromedary, and today it's the Bactrian. During the summer, the coat is short and dense with thin manes at the chin, shoulders, hind legs, and on the humps. And in the winter such as this, as you can see, the coat is long and dense, and it has a long mane. You may think from watching movies in the motion picture industry that all camels are from the desert area and people with turbans ride them around in hot, sandy places. However, this two-hump camel that we're looking at lives at a 4,000 to 6,000 foot elevation in Asia and Mongolia, where the bitterest of all winters come from. In fact, weather like this right now is truly a piece of cake for this camel. From South America, we have another unusual animal here that is totally accustomed to this type of weather. In fact, they wander around the Andes throughout South America. Llamas like this are used for carrying loads and really for their meat. The wool on these animals is not too valuable as is in the vicuna and the alpaca. A llama like this can carry a heavy load, a load of 110 pounds for about 20 miles. And if you're gentle with them, they'll carry that load right along. But if you become angry with the llama, they may well be the most sensitive of all pack animals, and much worse than a mule. One of the ways that you can stay friendly with a llama is what we're doing here today, by carrying the feed that they like in this cold, wintry day, such as this good, fresh alfalfa hay. And with that, they'll follow you just anywhere you want to go, unless they become offended. Believe me, I know that from a personal fact. When we move a llama, if we become the least bit offensive, their sensitivity just blossoms and they lay down, and that's all of the moving for that day. The snowy conditions, they can lay here all day right out in the snow and the wind and never even blink. While these llamas of the South American Andes are quite accustomed to heavy winds and snow, halfway around the world in Australia, these fascinating little creatures have never heard the word snow. We'll catch her. We need her put in that pen, and we're trying to herd her into that door so that we can lock her up and get her out of this snowy weather. Nature, in its strange way, has taken the slick, short hair off of that animal and has put on long hair for winter. We have the rest of them in the shed, and this is one more we're going to catch. Easy gal, easy baby. Here we go, here we go. She's going to pin up right here. Easy now, little girl. Come on, darling. Come on, darling. Okay, all right, Dan, let's take her in. As you can see, they're a little hard to move into the shed, but it's time to lock them up for the evening. That's the way, Dan. No, the other way. You need to go. That's the way. Now that's how you catch a kangaroo, if anyone out there needs to know how to catch a kangaroo. Dan, would you do that one more time? I want to see just one more. Okay.
Next, Hank and Randy White go fishing on Hot Water Lake, Monticello.
This is your hot water outlet here, I guess, where all the hot water's coming out of the plant?
Right, yeah.
What's the temperature?
Temperature is 67.
67. Well, this ought to be where they ought to be waiting in line right here. The jigging pig and the plastic worm. You know, it's two of the most popular baits on the market today. And there's probably 100 different plastic worms and jigs available, but two of my favorite are man's augertail, the worm that swims in the middle, the flippin' waggler, a plastic worm that has more action on the fall than any bait I've ever used, and Stanley's tricolored jig trail with man's auger frog. Probably the deadliest big fish combination available. Now, I've put these lures together along with the Fenwick 20 satchel box to make them available to you on a Hank Parker Outdoor Magazine special offer. Let me show you what I put together. The Fenwick 20 has an amber lid that is see-through. You have adjustable dividers and positive drawdown latches making the box waterproof. We have two 20 packs of man's flippin' wagglers, two 20 packs of FS 454 coated augertail worms, two Stanley jigs, one with a Magnum flipping hook, the other with a lightweight casting hook for light line use, and a pack of auger frog trailers, my favorite trailer. This is the finest fishing value I know of anywhere today.
Hank's lure pack and tackle box can be yours for only $19.95 plus shipping and handling. Send check, money order, or call toll free.
Order yours today.
Hank, how do you feel about the emphasis put on the color of baits and using different colors in baits?
Well, I got mixed emotions. I feel for the most part that there's more emphasis put on color than there is lure presentation and the depth that you're fishing and the kind of structure you're fishing. And I think that's unbalanced. I think it's a lot more important how you were presenting the bait than what color the bait was. And especially in tournament situations, you get that question a lot. You know, people will say, what color was it instead of how was you fishing it? So I really feel like that's probably a little bit out of proportion.
Right. That's something I hadn't thought about.
Hey, let me clue you in on what we're doing today. We're over here in Mount Pleasant, Texas, fishing Lake Monticello, a hot water lake, meaning it's got a power plant on it discharging warmer water. Water temperature here is about 68, 69 degrees, and the air temperature is about 30 degrees. So it's a big difference, quite a contrast. It produces a lot of fish in the wintertime. Randy, it's one of your favorite lakes, isn't it?
Yeah, I fish this lake, have been for the last 3 years. I fish it summer and winter.
You catch them here in the summertime as well?
Yeah, catch them in the summertime. Not as many, but you can catch some good fish here in the summertime too.
Well, that's good. It's got a reputation pretty well of producing a lot of big fish. I think someone told me this morning at one of the local docks that there's more big fish per acre of any lake in the country.
Yeah, this lake produces, it's produced 3 or 4 14-pounders in the past couple years, and there's lots and lots and lots of fish over 7 pounds.
Well, that's what I want you to do. I want you to show us where those 14-pounders are.
Well, we're sitting in a spot where a couple of them were caught.
Is that right? Well, I could use a few of those.
I know there's a 7-pounder used to live here because I caught him.
Is that right? What is the biggest fish you've ever caught?
Biggest fish I ever caught's a 10.45. Caught him in the middle of winter on a crankbait, 44-degree water temperature.
Is that right?
Yeah, I fished with a fellow that caught a 12.3 the same time, and I caught a 8.66 the same day.
Is that right?
Only 3 fish we caught all day, but that was my best day so far for big fish.
It depends, you know, I guess on the region of the country, but for my past experience, when the water temperature gets under 45, 46 degrees, it's few and far between. I fished Lake Wiley once, the lake that I live on. I used to run a dock there. And I fished Wiley one February and the water temperature was 45. And I fished it for 3 days, all day long, and never got a bite.
Well, this was after a real cold freeze we had, and the lake had just thawed out and it got a little warm. Real hot day, and we just fished jigs all day and didn't have any luck, and I just tied a crankbait on and started throwing it in the afternoon, and they just got on it.
There's a flight of scalp. A lot of Texas, a lot of bluebills or scalp in Texas, and I saw a little flight of them earlier this morning. Fishing that weed line.
There he is. Get him in there. That's a pretty good fish. All right. That's it. Spit it, jump fish. All right.
Boy, it's unusual for them to jump in the wintertime, you know. You ain't thinking about it.
That hot water will do for you. That's all we're going to pull.
Oh, man.
That's a pretty fish. I'll tell you what. That is a pretty fish. Looks like a little football.
I mean a football. He got some skint places on him.
He nicked up a little bit, hadn't he?
Yeah. Hot water, you think that may be what caused that? Boy, I'll tell you, in big hook jigs, you put a hook in them, too. Boy, that's what we're looking for.
That's what we want, ain't it?
That's what we want. Can we get a couple more of those?
We're going to try. That's a good fish, Hank.
Yeah. Ought to be another one out there. You know, that jig produces pretty good fish. Now, he wasn't quite 14 pounds, but he didn't like it.
He was a good fish. He pulled back, didn't he?
He did. I thought he might be one of those 14 pounders when I set the hook.
The fish in this lake are pretty stout.
Boy, it's a pretty lake.
Yeah.
It's got everything that I like. The timber, a little bit of off-colored water here, and the grass.
Yeah, it's a nice lake. They'll close it for about 2 years and let these fish regroup themselves and get all this pressure off them. And
it's hard, that's one drawback. But you know, I live on a lake. Of course, it doesn't have the metropolitan area like Dallas, but it's right out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and got about 1 million people there in the metropolitan area, and a lot of fishermen. They fish that lake, and I felt the same way, that they probably ought to close it for a year or two and let them really have a chance to come back. They put a larger size limit. I think it's got a 14-inch size limit on it now, and that lake went through a complete revival in 3 years.
Is that right?
One of the best lakes in the country. You know, I fish for a living, and I still, to get away and relax, I still go fishing. I still enjoy it just as much as I did before I ever started tournament fishing. It takes a little bit away from it when you're under the gun, but still when you get back away from a tournament, away from that competitive, what have I got? You wouldn't believe what I just had. Get away from that competitive atmosphere. I still unwind by getting out on the lake by myself or getting in a tree stand or a duck blind. I enjoy it just as much as I did before I ever started.
Well, I don't quite share that luxury with you, Hank. I tell you, when I'm relaxed, I sure don't want to go out and play football. I get beat up enough 6 months out of the year. That's what I like about fishing. When I go home, I may be a little tired and a little stiff, but I'm not beat up.
My adversary is a little bit different. I don't look across at about another 250-pounder I have to hit.
Ron, this is the only lure that'll catch fish on this lake. I got half of mine not to let you fish it because you don't have extra strong trilene on that reel. Don't lose it. The only place this lure is going is down a big old hog's throat. Uh-oh. Doggone it, Ron, I'm gonna show you why you need Trilene. It's up to 20% stronger. It's the line the tournament pros use, and it's the line that set 400 world records in just 12 months.
The revolutionary fish formulas are used by the world's best fishermen. Enough said? Hank Parker's Outdoor Magazine, where each week Hank Parker, one of America's finest sportsmen, will take you on an entertaining journey into the great outdoors. Join Hank and his friends for some of the finest fishing this side of heaven, and meet some of the world's most amazing animals to boot. Hank Parker's Outdoor Magazine. Now don't you go away. Hank will be right back.
At last, the ultimate in fish finding technology, Humminbird's LCR Liquid Crystal Recorder, the depth sounder that bridges the gap between flashers and charts, combining the best features of both. Now the most advanced concepts in sonar are combined with state-of-the-art microcomputer innovations to bring boaters and fishermen more features and more fish-finding versatility than any other depth sounder on the market. LCR, the creation of a new generation from Humminbird.
Randy, I tell you, some days you get them, some days you don't.
We'll give it a heck of a try. We had a lot of fun, and we sure didn't catch a bunch. You caught a few. I didn't catch very many, but I had a lot of fun. I sure enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again sometime.
Well,
you can teach you some more about this fishing game.
I think that we'll have to get together sometime when we catch a fish or two, but I tell you, you fished hard all day. You not only impressed me on the football field, but you impressed me on the lake as well.
Well, I appreciate it.
But I appreciate you being my guest today, and thank you for being with me. God bless you. I'm Hank Parker.
Hank Parker's Outdoor Magazine, sponsored by Fish Formula. We fool Mother Nature. Humminbird Depth Sounders. Minn Kota, quiet power catches fish. Ranger Boats, we still build them one at a time. Ryobi, there's never been a better reason to go fishing. And by Trilene, extra strong.
The house needs painting, the grass needs mowing. Where's he at?
Hank, this is Tom. You told me to call you when they're biting. They're biting.
Gone fishing.